news and events COVID-19 on June 06. Note, this is a collaborative video made between Travel for All FanPage and Knowledge of Coronavirus channel. Please respectfully welcome everyone. The following is the remarkable news most on June 06 as follows. 1. American news. The U.S. economy gained 2.5 million American jobs in May and the unemployment rate fell to 13.3%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. A forecast published by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now projects more than 127,000 coronavirus deaths in the country by June 27. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said Saturday that he is planning to accelerate the reopening of temples, mosques and churches. Houses of worship across the state will be allowed to open with up to 25% occupancy in Phase 2, as long as all social distancing measures are taken. Apple employees returning to its Silicon Valley headquarters will reportedly have the option of getting tested for the coronavirus. The company started bringing back some workers to its Apple Park office in Cupertino, California last month, offering them nasal swab tests for the virus and requiring temperature checks and masks, according to Bloomberg News. 2. COVID-19 update in the world. As of 6 p.m. on June 6, according to the Worldometer statistics page, the world recorded 131,851 more people infected with COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. This is a record number recorded since the outbreak. To date, a total of 6,824,545 people worldwide have COVID-19, including 397,351 deaths and 3,312,588 recovering and 53,499 patients in serious, critical conditions. At the largest epidemic in the world, the U.S. witnessed the number of COVID-19 infections in the past 24 hours suddenly increased to more than 29,000 cases after more than half a month, recording only the number of new cases per day at less than 25,000. Specifically, the number of new cases recorded by COVID-19 in the past 24 hours was 29,071, bringing the total number of COVID-19 infections in the U.S. to 1,953,122, including 111,374 deaths, an increase of 1,201 cases in the past 24 hours, and 719,288 people recovered. The World Health Organization reversed course on face masks yesterday. It's now encouraging people to wear them to prevent the coronavirus from spreading. The general public should use fabric masks in high-spread areas, the WHO said, or whenever social distancing is impossible. The Global Health Agency also said that all health workers, not just those caring for COVID-19 patients, should wear masks in clinical areas. 3. Brazilian news. Brazil is still the second largest epidemic in the world, with a number of new COVID-19 infections on June 5 chasing the U.S. button. Brazil is moving closer to overtaking the United Kingdom to become the second largest coronavirus nation in the world after announcing a huge number of daily deaths on Friday. Specifically, in the past 24 hours, Brazil recorded 27,896 infected people, bringing the total number of COVID-19 cases to 643,766, including 34,973 deaths, officially surpassing Italy to become the country with the highest number of deaths. 3 worlds after USA and UK. 4. China news. China issued a new warning to its citizens against travel to Australia Friday, citing racial discrimination against Chinese and Asian people. The statement from the Chinese Ministry of Culture and Tourism reads, recently, due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, racial discrimination and acts of violence against Chinese and Asians in Australia have increased significantly. The Ministry of Culture and Tourism reminds Chinese tourists to raise their safety awareness and not to travel to Australia. 5. French news. In France, the Ministry of Health reported that the death toll had increased to 29,111, while the number of people hospitalized fell from 13,101 to 12,696 on June 5, out of a total of 153,055. 6. UK news. The latest notice from the Ministry of Health and Health of UK said that 357 people were killed because of COVID-19, bringing the total number of people killed by pandemics to 40,261 out of 283,311 cases. 7. Russian news. In the third largest epidemic in the world, Russia recorded 449,834 cases of COVID-19, an increase of 8,726 cases in the past 24 hours, including 5,528 deaths, an increase of 144 cases. Russia also recorded 212,680 patients recovered, but 2,300 still in serious, critical condition. The Ministry of Health has issued a certificate of drug registration levilimab, trade name Ulcera, to treat patients infected with severe acute respiratory infection COVID-19. This drug is manufactured by Ayuka Biotechnology Company. 8. Singapore news. On June 5, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said Singapore was strengthening its ability to make a vaccine for COVID-19. In addition, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong also announced that Singapore hopes to soon complete production contracts with vaccine research firms. This will enable firms to accelerate the manufacturing process and ensure that Singapore can provide high standards of safety and quality for the production process. Regarding the epidemic situation on the Lion Island, up to now, a total of 37,183 cases of COVID-19 have been reported, including 24 deaths. 9. News of Egypt. In Egypt, amid a rapidly growing epidemic, on June 5, United Nations Resident Coordinator Acting Rights in Egypt Christina Alberton affirmed his commitment to helping the North African nation to overcome the challenges posed by outbreak of COVID-19. In a press release released on the occasion of World Environment Day, Ms. Alberton said that this goal can be achieved by prioritizing creating a sustainable environment and managing natural resources. This is considered part of the priority areas and restoration plans of this country. On the same day, Egypt continued to record 1,348 more cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infected people to 31,115, including 1,166 deaths, up 40 from the last 24 hours. In addition, 402 patients recovered and were discharged, thereby bringing the total number of fully recovered patients to 8,158. 10. Vietnam news. Vietnam, as of 7 a.m. June 6, recorded 329 people with COVID-19, of which 307 patients were declared cured. The remaining 22 patients are being treated at health facilities across the country, of which 13 patients have had negative test results from one time or more. Up to now, 51 days in Vietnam have not recorded new cases of infection in the community. On June 3 and June 4, Vietnamese authorities, the Vietnamese Embassy in the UK, and Vietnam National Airlines collaborated with the UK authorities to organize the flight. Nearly 340 Vietnamese citizens returned home safely. 11. Indonesia news. On June 6, Indonesia again recorded the highest number of new cases. The country's Ministry of Health said, with 993 new infections within 24 hours, the Southeast Asian nation recorded the highest daily number of new infections since the detection of the COVID-19 acute respiratory infection, and bringing the total number of cases in the nation of 10,000 islands to 30,514 people. Speaking at a press conference on the same day, Ahmad Yuryanto, a Ministry of Health official, said Indonesia had recorded a total of 1,801 deaths, an increase of 31 in the past 24 hours. Thus, up to now, all 34 provinces in Indonesia have contracted COVID-19. Presently, officials in provinces and cities are conducting COVID-19 tests in areas with high levels of infected people and requiring citizens to wear masks to prevent the epidemic from spreading. 12. Iran news. According to Iranian Ministry of Health spokesman Kayanash Jahanpur, the number of COVID-19 cases in the country has increased by 2,269 cases in the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of cases there to 169,425. The number of deaths increased by 75 to 8,209. On June 6, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani warned Iranians that they should prepare for a long-term co-infection with COVID-19 respiratory infections as the Islamic Republic is slowly expanding. Loose restrictions to prevent disease spread. Speaking at the weekly meeting with the anti-COVID-19 task force, President Rouhani stated that people should not think that the disease will be eradicated in 15 days or 1 month, but that all should be followed. Instructions for a long time. People should stop gathering, whether it is a wedding, funeral, or close visit, unless the health ministry changes its recommendations. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Please subscribe Knowledge of Coronavirus channel at https://tindercom/s4gaps Knowledge of Coronavirus channel and travel for all fantas respectfully and see you in the next video. In Finland, the Ministry of Health said June 4 that the number of COVID-19 infections has decreased in the past 2 weeks, although schools reopened in mid-May. Restaurants are allowed to reopen on June 1, and public services such as libraries, theaters and sports facilities began to function again. The number of infections has decreased, but scientists warn that there is still a risk of an increase in the disease if social gap is not implemented. Finland has so far recorded 6,911 cases of COVID-19 and 321 deaths. Last week, the Finnish government removed its citizens' recommendations to avoid traveling within the country, but it was not decided after June 14 whether restrictions on cross-border travel would continue. The country plans to start using the COVID-19 tracing application via mobile phones in August. 12. International Relations News. 12. International Relations News. Australia and India signed an agreement to allow forces on both sides to use each other's military bases amid China's continuing escalation of tensions in the South China Sea. During the India-Australia online conference on 4/6 local time, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi officially signed a new agreement to strengthen bilateral defense cooperation called the Mutual Logistics Agreement, MLSA, CNN said. Mutual Logistics Support Agreement, MLSA, CNN said. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Please subscribe Knowledge of Coronavirus channel at https://tindercom/s4gaps Knowledge of Coronavirus channel and travel for all fantas respectfully and see you in the next video. 6. Chinese news. Wuhan Dr. Hu Weifeng turned black from coronavirus infection, who passed away in late April due to a brain hemorrhage. Chinese netizens are angry about this news. After 4 months of fighting the disease, Dr. Hu Weifeng of Wuhan Central Hospital, colleague of the late physician Li Wenliang, passed away June 2. His death caused outrage on social networks. China. According to the BBC, Dr. Hu Weifeng, 42 years old, a specialist in urology, appeared in the newspaper in March when his skin turned black due to COVID-19. This complication occurred because his liver lost function in the process. Treatment course. 7. News from Vietnam. At an online meeting of experts from the North, Central and South in the afternoon of June 4, Choray Hospital said that the good news is that the lungs of 91 British pilots had recovered 50%. The British Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City visited patients. 8. Swedish news. Controversy over Sweden's COVID-19 prevention strategy rekindled when epidemiologist Anders Tegnell, in charge of designing the country's anti-epidemic policy, intended to acknowledge the flaws in the way many people died. Casualties. While the COVID-19 outbreak broke out in Europe, Sweden was a country that did not apply strict anti-epidemic blockades such as blockade and relied on voluntary social distance, banning the gathering of over 50 people. Trips of less than 2 hours to visit family are still allowed. However, because of this comfort, the situation of COVID-19 in Sweden in late May became tense. Its daily mortality rate is the highest in Europe, even 5 days at the highest level in the world. 9. Russian news. Russia will start distributing Aviflor, the first COVID-19 drug approved by the country's Ministry of Health, to patients next week. This is considered a move to promote the country back to normal life. Aviflavir is the first potential new strain of coronavirus drug approved by the Russian Ministry of Health after clinical trials. Aviflavir, international name Favipiravir, was first developed by a Japanese company in the late 1990s. The company was later acquired by Fujifilm, often used to treat severe flu patients. Russian experts have redesigned to enhance the effectiveness of Aviflavir in the treatment of COVID-19. 10. Japanese news. Japan will fund $300 million for an international organization committed to providing vaccines to people around the world. The move comes as Gavi Vaccine Alliance is calling on the international community to fund vaccine development and other efforts to cope with a new strain of coronavirus. Earlier, the Japanese government pledged $100 million to sponsor the organization. However, Japan decided to contribute an additional $200 million. Under the plan, Prime Minister Abe Shinzo will announce the financial support in a video message broadcast at the coalition meeting on Thursday, June 4, 2020. The purpose of the Japanese government to support the development and use of the vaccine is probably to ensure that the 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games will take place next year after a one-year delay. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Knowledge of coronavirus, channel and travel for all fanpage respectfully, and see you in the next video.